Firstly, thank you for coming for all the tube strikes. I thought I could present in my pajamas when I heard the tube strike, but he said, come over. Right, just a quick brief overview of what London Stock Exchange Group does. We have five divisions, LSEG, data analytics, FTSE Russell, risk intelligence, stock exchange, the capital markets, and post-trade. Um, Data analytics is one of the largest in the group, and we generate almost 70% of the revenue for the group. And that section is a competitor to Bloomberg. I don't know if you know Bloomberg, we distribute data, right? So we are competitors to them. All of you talk about tables, performance, latency, right? Wait till you see what we do, right? I mean, um, simple example, like Microsoft guys are very well aware. Like we have a table which we need to migrate on Iceberg, a delta. There's 1.5 trillion rows. It takes 4 days for us to hydrate, right? One of the tables is 2 terabytes. The applications don't even have 2 terabyte memory to process them. So we talk a different scale, right? And you can, I mean, considering all of this, we're not into petabytes and petabytes of data. And I'll touch a bit on that Kafka streaming and CDC as well, because that's what we do and solving real business problems, right? And about me, I run all the engineering for data analytics, doing large scale transformation. What we're trying to do is get all of our legacy estate that is on-prem. We have tons and tons of SQL servers, Oracle, Sybase, some that even SQL Server that even Microsoft forgotten about. We still have somewhere in a closet. Trying to move all of the data into OneLake and run our entire estate on OneLake. That's the goal, Fabric specifically. But natively, we have selected Delta Parquet. So I know I've come to an iceberg community and saying we're Delta Parquet, but I'll come to why I was invited for the iceberg community. Okay. Um, at a high level, what we do is we have all our source systems, we build data platforms on OneLake, and then we distribute. Okay. Why this is important is because our processing layer is different to a distribution layer. They work very differently. The speed at which we process, the speed at which we have to distribute. And we combine both real time and all of the petabytes of data. And we have to enable AI use cases plus the real time. So that's it. That was a very interesting one that you presented with the real time with Delta, right? Uh, Moving to why we selected Delta was because when we did the partnership with Microsoft 2 years ago, we wanted to do complete native. We didn't want to do any other technology. So we went Delta Parquet, right? We did a lot of POCs on Iceberg. Iceberg was not mature enough then. And there were a lot of pros and cons of what we did. And then recently, Databricks launched the open compatibility layer, right? That was brilliant for us. Why? Because we put petabytes of data onto Delta Parquet file, and we have all of that. JP Morgan just comes, hey, we need this data. We need it in Snowflake. That's all they'll tell. But as a Delta, we can't do Snowflake, right? So what we physically have to do is copy the files onto a Iceberg format, enable Snowflake for them, and then put connectivity in there, start marrying up files. But that's a one-off. How do you keep up with real-time Delta updates? How do you push through the Snowflake, right? Exactly the problem that I said real-time versus batch. And as we were talking through the business problems that we actually solve, when Databricks launched the interoperability, I said, this is brilliant. We run now Iceberg workloads, Iceberg compute engine on top of a Delta workloads, sorry, Delta storage, right? And we have like metadata layer that does on the fly. Of course, it's new. There's this latency, the performance, and all. When we talk about trillions and trillions of reads, we still haven't tested it out. So we are jointly actually exploring that with Microsoft and Android. Okay. Um, just a few pointers. There's nothing, as I said, I'm presenting a very big kind of a business lens. The techies are here. We're going to technology as well, right? Landscape. Why do you need Iceberg versus Delta, right? If you see today, we have a lot of our estate on SQL Server, Oracle, this, that. We have mainframes, Sybase, I shouldn't say this, but we have SQL Server 2008 as well. All right. It's one of our long-standing databases which Microsoft support, right? But when you go to customers, how do you support those? And this is where the Delta, or let's say Parquet, right? Because Delta and Iceberg are now open source format. Why we are going that is that we want everyone to have one single layer, which means that we can run either Databricks, Snowflake, or any other compute. And that's the beauty of the Delta Lakehouse, where the compute is basically separated from storage. Now, because the storage is separate and now the open format storage come up, you can run any workloads. Of course, there's going to be more and more integration and deeper, and one technology will take over the other, but that's the intention, right? And for us, I specifically asked actually Ryan coming and speaking at an iceberg meetup, and I'm going to tell Dil that's going to be a foundation. He said it's good to have a customer's perspective on what it means, right? At the end of the day, storage does not matter. We always believe that what is the business value you're driving and do the right technology for what you need. Just because you love Iceberg does not mean let's go Iceberg and then figure out some applications and then go to business, right? Work the other way around. Okay. And Iceberg compatibility is your gurus here, influxes. But one of the real world benefits that we really have in that is there are two important things that we figured out, right? Governance and lineage. When we have data sets going in different areas, one customer says, I want Databricks. One customer says, I want it in SQL Server. One customer says, I want Oracle. Having all of that storage in one layer and applying governance and lineage has been amazing for us, right? You have multitude of lineage tools, but having that governance and the lineage and tying, right? Because you're a financial institution, everything is tied back. When someone says what is happening, when we tie it back to one storage layer, it's just unbelievable. Having the separate layers and tying everything together has been a nightmare. But having this one storage, the interoperability has unlocked lots of doors for us. Lessons learned is when a new technology comes, do not trust it. Do not jump onto it, right? Everyone goes, that's a new kid on the block because it works for what? A million rows, 100 million rows, a billion rows. Wait till you get our size, like where I said it takes 4 days for our size 1.5. The storage lanes break, really break, right? So we are actually actively working with Microsoft and contributing back and making it much better. And on the note of how we do the deltas versus this, now they have changed data feed on OneLake, which means that solves a CDC problem. So all of our estate, we are doing CDC on to complete the base storage, and then other enabling change data feed to actually distribute to customers. So that's about it. Thank you for that. It's a very, as I said, it's not technical. I gave a very business overview on what we are doing and how we are trying to solve a business problem. At the end of the technology for business is what I'm saying. Any questions?
I would say like the best insight to understand like what from a business side is needed. I don't know, like we can take maybe one question before going into break. Yes.
Tom.
As a former head of data engineering for somewhere a lot smaller than there, lineage across all sorts of disparate formats and everything. How?
Okay,
Give 5 minutes.
So Microsoft has been very helpful in building us. So I mean, across our group, we use Solidatus as a lineage. But Microsoft has helped us. We are actually natively actually working very closely with Purview, and Purview integrates very closely with Delta Parquet. So all of the Spark engines, the Fabric engines, all the ETL pipelines, the ELT pipelines that we run as native notebook integration to those kind of all that. And if there isn't, we are one of the lucky ones to actually speak very regularly to the Purview product team. We put a feed in, we get in a month or two, they try it out, we try it, and they try it. But across everywhere, we write into one kind of Purview, and then that separates out to Solidatus. And then we build dashboards on top of all that to see. So effectively, from A to B, we can actually trace what is going where across with the lineage through and through.
Yes, again, add a little more clear to it. Like the thing is, we said Microsoft is embracing open ecosystem, right? We have embraced open lineage format.
No,
So we
open
lineage
as well.
format him as the lineage and then pass it on and yeah, let's make it available to public APIs. Any vendor on the planet can actually query that lineage.
Was that say? Sorry, a quick follow-up. What, yes or no answer?
So it was a more like open lineage, and we are actually, that's one of the reasons why we said we are promoting open storage formats, open lineage and everything, right? Right tools for the right business outcome.
Was that designed in from day one? Or yeah.
No.
That was the answer. So thank you very much again.
Thank you.
It's 4 o'clock.